I am like having a hard time regulating my breath because of all this iced coffee. Oh my God.
Oh God.
God. I inhaled the cake crumb. This is a disaster. Why does this always happen to me?
So I should turn the timer off?
Yeah. Hey everyone, I'm Claire Saffitz. Welcome to my home kitchen. Today I'm showing you an extremely classic recipe. It is for birthday cake, which to me means yellow cake, chocolate frosting. It is a layer cake, so there's a little bit of architecture involved, but the recipe is super straightforward and easy, and it is just the ultimate celebration cake. Plus, you get to play with sprinkles. So it's a really fun recipe and the most delicious.
When you have a birthday,
Yeah.
what kind of cake do you make?
I usually make my own birthday cake. Sometimes I make like birthday pie. What? I don't want anyone else to make my birthday cake. What? It's less sad than it sounds. In the past, it's been carrot cake because I just really do love carrot cake. I also love like a sponge cake, so a different, not a butter cake like this, but a lighter sponge. But I feel like when I am making a birthday cake for someone else, this is the cake. It's easy, it has a great texture, and I particularly love the frosting that I'm gonna show you, which is an extremely easy chocolate frosting that is like better than it should be in a lot of ways. And it's cream cheese based, like all good frostings. Yeah, so it's really fun. And it's also the kind of thing that's really forgiving. Like if you're not a master cake decorator, froster, just throw a ton of sprinkles on it and it looks so fun. And like it's the kind of thing where you bring it to a table and people get excited. So that's one reason I love layer cakes. Okay, so I'm gonna use a stand mixer today. And then in terms of other equipment, you will need 3 cake pans. I have 3 8-inch cake pans. These are actually used to belong to my grandmother. These like light colored aluminum pans. You could make it in a 9-inch pan and you just have slightly thinner layers. That's totally fine and they'll bake a little bit faster, but 8 or 9-inch, I'm using 8 because you get a taller cake. So I like the proportions of an 8-inch cake. Again, still having some trouble deciding when to breathe when I talk. It's the coffee.
Big 5.
Maybe I should stop drinking the coffee though. So for the cake layers, I have cake flour, baking powder, 2 sticks of unsalted butter at room temp, a 1/4 cup of neutral oil, vanilla extract, granulated sugar, baking soda, kosher salt, buttermilk, and 5 large egg yolks plus 2 whole eggs at room temp. I have some parchment rounds that I cut, plus I have like 1 silicone 8-inch round that I'll use. So I have 3 pans and I have some room temp butter right here. But coat everything really well. With cake pans, you really want something that has like at least 1-inch sides, preferably 2-inch sides. These are a little bit shorter. And you also want something that's light colored. I do not really understand why so much bakeware is nonstick. It's not actually helpful in baking. You think you're saving a step, but it really just leads to super overcooked, crunchy outsides on cakes because the dark color like absorbs more heat and then things overbake while the center stays underdone. So then lay your liner right in the pan and then go back in and then more butter. So that's one. I'm just gonna do the others. Just don't pay attention to these swaps that I made last night. First, I'm going to mix together the dry ingredients. So I have my cake flour. And I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Is that right? I love this photo in the book, can I just say? And I love the wisps of smoke in the candles. How amazing are these candles? My prop stylist Astrid found them.
So you turn it around and make sure you get that measurement right. A little lower. A little lower. Yeah.
3 cups of cake flour, 2 teaspoons baking powder, 1.5 teaspoons diamond crystal kosher salt, and a 1/2 teaspoon baking soda. Okay, that all gets mixed together.
The other thing that would make it better is if she was going the same.
Yeah.
What?
Like Russian dolls.
Never saw it.
It's not a movie. It's a thing.
Oh, me on the back? Oh. I thought you were talking about this show on Netflix. Whatever. All right, half a teaspoon baking soda. So this recipe has powder and soda in it because the little bit of baking soda just neutralizes and reacts with some of the acid in the buttermilk, and you get a lighter cake that way. All right, so whisk all of this together. So here I have my dry. And now I'm going to start creaming together the butter and sugar. So granulated sugar. This is 2 sticks, aka 1 cup, aka 8 ounces.
How many grams?
226.
How many milliliters?
Close to 226.
Whoa.
Let's say. Well, I gotta scrape these down.
This is a fun game.
So at this stage, I actually add the oil along with the butter because it's an opportunity to combine all the fats with the sugar. It's just enough to give the layers a little bit of extra moisture and keep things like pliable and soft at room temp. So I'm gonna blend it together on low for starters. I mean, the mixture already looks pale, but I want it to get super light and fluffy. So this is an important step in the cake baking process because this is a step that is going to lighten the batter. What happens is the sugar crystals, they're sharp. They have this crystalline structure, they have sharp edges. When they get beaten against the side of the mixer by the paddle, the sugar crystals cut into the butter and create these little air pockets. And then that air is providing leavening to the cake. So I'm going to let that go for several minutes until I see something really pale and fluffy. So this mixture looks really nice. You can see that it has lightened in color and it's super airy. It looks whipped. The volume is increased. So I'm going to put the mixer more on medium and then add the eggs and yolks one at a time. You want to add the eggs slowly because you want to give it a chance to emulsify into the batter. And you can increase the speed after you add the egg, like slow it down with the addition and then speed it up. A lot of successful cake making for a butter cake is about scraping down the bowl really well. You can see just on the spatula, like there's like the pale part and then the yellow part. The pale part didn't get the eggs incorporated. So I'm gonna whip this a little bit more. Okay, so now it's time to start adding my wet and dry ingredients. Besides the yolks and the butter, like vanilla is the flavor of this cake. So use a good quality extract. I'm gonna eyeball that, call that a tablespoon. Is that more than that, you think? Who can say? That'll be fine. So with this amount of flour and this amount of buttermilk plus vanilla, I will do 3 additions of flour. So you don't want to add all of this to the batter because you can disrupt the emulsion. It's going to not produce the texture you want. So we alternate the wet and dry ingredients, but you start and end with dry. So I eyeball about 1/3. And then at this stage, you want to mix really only on like low speed, just until you see most of the flour start to disappear. And then I'll add half the buttermilk mixture, mixing on low. And then at this stage, you can sort of what's called pulse the mixer, where you turn it off and on. Then half of the remaining flour mixture, which is 1/3 of the total. Then the remaining buttermilk. Then remaining flour. So once you see it come back together and it looks really smooth, I love the texture of it. It's like this really fluffy, like rich looking mixture. Now you want to really scrape the sides well because there's a lot of unincorporated batter. And then just to make sure it's really well mixed, I'll pop it back into the mixer and give it like a couple, just like a really quick, fast little mix like that. So now I'm really confident that I have this thoroughly blended but not overmixed batter. When you cut into a cake and you pull a slice out, it's nice to have like really even flat layers. So the best way to do that is to weigh out the amount of batter. Often I just eyeball it and I like do 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3 in the 3 pans, but inevitably like one has a lot more. I'm like kind of bad at eyeballing stuff like that. So I do like to weigh. God, how off are my measurements? I'm only on, I have a lot less batter than I had. All right, close enough. Now, with your count spatula, We're gonna go in and just smooth the layers really well. I just work it out evenly from the center. And then once you get to the edges, you can start to smooth and rotate. And I go right up flush with the sides of the pan. Yeah, so these are gonna go in the oven. I'll show you how. I mean, I'll actually show you how, but first I'll give you a preview. So I'm gonna do, you could do 2, it doesn't matter where you start, 2 on the upper rack, 2 on the lower rack, but you wanna go on opposite sides of the oven with the 2 pans and then the 3rd pan on the other rack in the center. And that's to basically maintain as much air circulation around the pans as possible, and then we rotate them. If this is how I have the pans, 2 on the bottom, 1 on the top. The top one goes on the bottom, then the 2 lower ones come up and then switch sides. So they go like that. I also like, instead of leaving the oven open while I put the pans in, I'll do like this. Oh my God.
I was gonna say, is there something in there?
It's the meringue. Oh, they look good. They're a little overdone. All right, so my oven's on 350. Make sure you don't have anything in your oven while you're preheating it. Although you should be able to smell it. Okay, so when I put one in, and then I close the door, and then I put the other 2 in rather than leave the door open, because then the temperature is gonna drop really dramatically. So they bake for 30 to 35 minutes total. But with cake making, like, cakes are delicate, and while they're rising in the oven, the structure has not set yet, and so when you bump or move a cake as it's rising, it has a tendency to fall, and then you'll never get that texture back. You'll never get it to rise any higher. It'll just become dense. So I don't like to disturb the cakes in the first half of baking. I let them go. And then it's only sort of toward the end of baking that you need to rotate them, because that's when they start to take on color, and you'll get even browning that way. So for 30 to 35 minutes, that's the total, but I'll rotate them after 25. Well, they were gonna look so good, these cookies.
These cookies are cursed.
Yeah, I'll send Sue a picture of them. Well, whatever. Okay, so I'm making this in a stand mixer. You could do it with a hand mixer. And as far as ingredients, very straightforward. A pound of cream cheese, room temp, 2 sticks of butter at room temp, 6 ounces of unsweetened chocolate, that's very important, unsweetened, kosher salt, a pound of powdered sugar, and a little vanilla. Then for decorating, we got these guys, little sprinkles. So the first thing I want to do is melt the chocolate. I have this barely simmering water, and I'm just going to break up the chocolate. And I'm adding unsweetened chocolate because this American style frosting tends to be really sweet. And what I love about this frosting is not only do you have the tang to balance everything out from the cream cheese, but adding all of this unsweetened chocolate creates something so balanced, because it's, it needs that sweetness from the frosting. I am going to let this just hang out and continue to melt. And I'll pull it off the double boiler, and I'll turn off the heat so this whole thing will just finish gently. So I'm sort of not following my own guidance here. The cream cheese is a tiny bit on the cool side. If you have one that's slightly colder than the other, like I do here, start with just the colder of the 2 in your stand mixer. So the cream cheese is already salted, but I like to add a little additional salt. So a pinch of salt. And now with only the cream cheese in here, I'm going to just start beating it with the paddle. I just want it to be smooth and really creamy. It's mostly free of lumps. Is that my timer? Mm-hmm. All right, hit the pause button. I'm gonna rotate the pans. Oh my God, this cake is done. Guess we're not rotating them. Geez, that cooked really fast. No, these aren't done. Oh my God, what's happening? Oh God, okay. Well, did my oven spike in temp? I feel like this happened last night.
You were supposed to side them.
Whatever, God. Sorry, I'm not doing that. God. Sorry, Cal, that wasn't at you. I forgot.
So I should turn my timer off?
Yeah. I'm gonna blame my oven. That's a good thing about baking. Anytime something doesn't turn out, you can blame your oven. Well, that one baked fast.
You would have killed it.
So annoying. All right, well, this one overbaked a little bit. Thank God I have swaps, which I also overbaked, by the way, I think for the same reason last night. All right, I'm taking this chocolate off. It feels good sitting like this. All right, I gotta look to see if the other layers are done. Please don't be burned. Oh my God. I'm really in a bad mood about this. Overcooked, overbaked. My layers got a little dark. against the fault of my oven. All right, so I have my paddled cream cheese. All right, so now that that's smooth, I can add the butter, and I'm gonna add it just a couple tablespoons at a time because I want to incorporate it little by little. I'm gonna add my powdered sugar now. One thing I like about this recipe is I don't have to measure the powdered sugar, which is something I kind of hate doing because it just goes everywhere. It's hard to measure it accurately. And in this recipe, it just takes an entire 1 pound box. Just add that directly to the bowl all at once. Then take a towel of any kind and just drape it around the mixer, because if you were to turn this on, even on the lowest speed, it's gonna really just like make a cloud of powdered sugar. So this is just to keep it contained. And I'm pulsing it just to the lowest speed a couple times. Once it's incorporated, you can take the towel off. And now I'm gonna just slowly mix it. And now I can really start to make the frosting by whipping this all together. You can over whip frosting. Basically what happens is you get so much air into it that the air pockets become really big, and then you have a hard time smoothing it over the cake. So just, don't like turn on the mixer and then walk away, but you do want to work some air into it. All right, this looks good. Now I'm ready to add my chocolate mixture. If you add the chocolate while it's warm, you'll melt the butter and then you'll get something really liquid. That's okay, you can still re-whip it as it cools down and comes back to room temp, but generally speaking, just wait for the chocolate to cool, which this has. All right, so now I'm going to lower the paddle, mix this on medium-high, until it's completely smooth. Make sure you scrape down the sides of the bowl because you'll have some non-chocolate frosting stuff around the sides. One thing you can do if you feel like you've overbeaten frosting is take maybe like a 1/4 cup of it, melt it in the microwave, and then mix it in. When you're looking in the bowl, see how there's just tons of air bubbles that you can see, like there? It's like that's been a little overbeaten, which I think probably happened because I beat the cream cheese so much and the butter so much more before I added the sugar. I'll try it. Let's see if that trick works. So I didn't like boil it and just melted it. See how it's darker than the rest of the frosting? So it's like theoretically there's no more air in it, and that's why I think it's going to work. I'm gonna make a huge mess by the end of this. I feel like that worked, sort of. Maybe not. I don't know. We're just gonna go with it. Things aren't exactly happening the way I was hoping for this episode, but that's all right. The bonus of leveling a cake is that you then get to taste the cake scraps and determine if you did a good job or not. So it's just like little snacks that you can munch on. So I have a serrated knife. They make special knives for this, but any bread knife should be fine. You want something long enough that you can slice through the cake. So basically you hold the knife parallel to your work surface, and I just make nice even strokes with the knife, keeping it parallel. And I like to sort of rotate the cake as I go. Let the knife move its way through the cake. Do not force the knife, because then you will start to drag up some crumbs, and you don't want to do that. And then remove the top layer. I've exposed this beautiful yellow, soft, fluffy, look how fluffy it is, crumb. It also is a good opportunity. You can like take a look at the crumb. I'm relieved that it's not dry and hard and overbaked. You can taste it. Good. If you feel like your layers dried out or they overbaked, you can add a soak to the layers like we did on the confetti cake episode.
Are you gonna do a crumb coat?
Oh my God, Vinny, you know all the terms.
I'm just thinking about the fridge space.
Maybe we just crumb coat it and stick it in front of the AC. Not a bad idea. Now I have my level layers, I have my frosting, and I have my cake stand. And I have these pieces of parchment paper that I cut, and I've placed them on top of the cake stand around the sides with a little opening in the center, and this is going to protect the cake stand from like drips of frosting or little smears while I do the frosting. I'm going to, because I'm not soaking these layers, they're still really soft and tender and not at all dry, I'm going to place it cut side down on the surface. And that is to prevent lots of crumbs from forming. So now I'm going to add, I would say, approximately 1 cup of chocolate frosting right on top of the layer. So then go ahead and smooth that across the surface of the cake. So once you place it, go ahead and get eye level and make sure that you placed it directly on top of the first layer. I can already see that it's like a little lopsided. So before you add any frosting, go ahead and try to adjust. So me, or is the entire thing leaning? No, it's not going anywhere. I'm telling myself to stop. All right, it's fine. Let's see if it looks even. No, hello. Fine, we'll fix it with frosting. Why is it so uneven? It's like this little lip right here. Whatever, it's fine. So now I'm going to frost the entire cake in a very, very thin layer. But it's not going to be the final layer of frosting. It is something called a crumb coat. Basically, I have all these little particles around the cake like this, and you know, they're making little crumbs. And basically, by applying a thin layer of frosting, chilling it down, and then applying the final layer of frosting, you are adhering all of these little errant crumbs to the cake, and they will not mar the final finish of frosting at the end. This frosting looks all weird. Things aren't happening today, really. I like to start on the top of the cake and then work the frosting down the sides toward the bottom, because it's hard to like put frosting on the side because of gravity. So let gravity help you. How lopsided is it? Does it look crazy? I think I'm having an inner ear problem.
This is like deja vu from the confetti cake.
Damn it. You would think I would have been like, oh, remember how that happened with the confetti cake, and try to fix it, but oh well. So now I have the whole thing coated. I actually have quite a lot of frosting on here for it being a crumb coat. So I like to go in with my bench scraper and just take off excess frosting. And holding this bench scraper here allows me to really see how parallel my layers are and how evenly stacked they are. All right, I better quit while I'm ahead. This is our crumb coat. All right, I'm going to chill this down. I'm seriously gonna go stick it in front of my AC window unit. Then we can apply the final layer of frosting. And thank God we have sprinkles to cover up this mess. Can I do it with one hand is my question. Okay. Oh my God, it's wobbling. Oh, sorry, kitty. Turn it down to 55. Oh, it only goes to 61. Oh no. Oh God, the parchment. This is a disaster. Rarely have I planned so much for a recipe that turned out so poorly. Never done this before. This is the first. Okay, so I'm just adding a bunch more frosting to the top. Same technique, letting it fall over the sides. And I'm keeping it very rustic looking because this is not the kind of frosting, at least not the way that I made it, that's gonna smooth into this like really glossy, non-textured surface. Now I can just go in and make some swirled little areas, some textures. All right, we're done here. Let's move back into the room. I'm just gonna cover this thing in sprinkles now. All right, let's wrap this cake up, shall we? So I don't know if you could say that I frosted it. I frosted it. This cake was weirdly challenging today. Okay, the last step is the saving grace. You can cover this whole thing in sprinkles. I feel like the sprinkles are just like a distraction. It's like it will distract from any other kind of issues that you're having on the cake. Let's just take this whole episode and forget everything that happened in it. As far as the sides go, you can kind of like throw them at the sides of the cake. God, I'm just like falling on the floor. I don't pull straight out when I take the parchment off. I sort of pull it off toward, like around the side. It's like I rotate it and then slide out at the same time. Just like that. All right, I think I'm warming up to this cake a little bit. I was kind of
It looks great.
kind of mad at it before. All right, so I'm gonna undowel it. I hope this cake doesn't fall apart when I cut it. But look, the taste is gonna be great. Oh God. That felt pretty good, actually. Okay. Oh, looks good though. Oh God. I got nervous. Okay, I'm gonna stay here like. Oh God! Oh God! Okay, got it. Just that one's for looks. Don't look too hard. It's just really hot. But I have to say, the cake. I think one thing you can see from the way that the cake cuts is that it's so tender and it has such a nice, delicate crumb. I just think it's like the ideal yellow cake. It is perfect for any kind of celebration. I don't think there's anyone who wouldn't like this cake as the base of a layer cake, no matter what kind of frosting. And in this case, with the cream cheese in it, plus the unsweetened chocolate, it is a surprisingly, I nailed the cake crumb. The frosting, as I was saying, is just, it's like tangy, has a little bitter sweetness. It is, I think for how easy it is, surprisingly not too sweet and well-balanced frosting. So I'll just say, try not to frost a layer cake in a 90-degree kitchen with no fridge space. Not recommended, but you, oh God. Why does this always happen to me? We'll deal with that later. Let's look over here. Oh God. I don't know what to say. We're done here.
Who has the
No.
next birthday?
Mine's
This guy.
next week.
When's yours?
June 10th.
No
Oh my
way.
God. June
Yours
10th,
is
June
for-
13th. We
Yeah.
got 2 birthdays to celebrate around here.
What's up, Gemini?
Alright, then hand me the boom. And both of you guys are going in.
I'll hold a camera. You want me to hold the boom?
Nope, I got it.
Am I good? Am I?
Can I eat?
Wait for it. Hold on. I got this. Just 1 second.
I'll write a
You
new.
can probably have just one camera.
What?
I see it. I see it. I
It's getting a little
Mike,
close.
Come here 1 second.
Just balance it on your elbow.
Alright, we need some positive affirmation here, guys. What do you guys think of this cake?
Oh, it's good. Yeah.
It's delicious.
Birthday cake, huh?
The icing is very tangy.
Tangy.
I'm getting that
Yeah.
tang from it. It's a perfect tang. This is very good. I'll eat this whole slice.
Okay, good. Take this home to your children. Get it out of my sight.
It's good.
What? Never mind. Alright, let's go.
I think the reason that nothing worked is because I didn't use.
Mm.
Damn it.
I could tell you always use.
Yeah. Should have known. Mayor of Easttown would have used.
Oh wait, I'll say like and you say and subscribe. Right? Like.
And subscribe.
Who's ringing the bell? Isn't the guy in The Sopranos? Cut.